Chapter 6 Everyday Situations and Spirituality 1. What is the right way to live in the world and to leave it finally, as per our Upanishads or scriptures? The Upanishads do not ask for life to be renounced, but they only want you to change your attitude towards life. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitaha ma gridakasya siddhanam. Ishavasya Upanishad 1.1. Meaning, always remember the truth that all this, the moving and the non-moving in the world, is pervaded by God, and enjoy life with a sense of detachment. Do not covet someone else's wealth. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivisheta shatam samaha evam tvai nanyathe toste na karma lipyate nare. Ishavasya Upanishad 1.2. Meaning, aspire to live in this world for 100 years, performing all actions with a sense of detachment. There is no other way by which you will remain free without being bound by your action. The Upanishad exhort man to lead a life full of activity in the world with the awareness that everything belongs to God. That helps him cultivate detachment by getting rid of the sense of possessiveness or ownership, and thus perform all actions selflessly for the welfare of society. One who undertakes activity in this world with this attitude is not bound by the law of karma and hence get liberated. Thus, Upanishads clearly set the goal of human life, Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha, emancipation for oneself and welfare of the world. Anyone who lives with this goal in mind will always be happy. Upanishads declare that the best among the knowers of God will lead a life full of selfless activity and will always be rooted in divine bliss. 2. How do I become selfless? Every day, engage in small selfless acts for the sake of others. Consciously do it, and one day, you will be living a completely selfless life. That is the way you can realize your divinity. Divinity is selflessness, and selflessness is not possible without being fearless, and fearlessness is not possible without knowing the truth, which is, God is with me, in me, above me, below me, and around me. So why should there be any reason for being afraid of anything or anyone? You can always lead your life fearlessly and selflessly. Unless you're selfless, you will never know divinity. You can only talk about it. Divinity is not one person's right, which can be denied to others. It's everybody's birthright to be divine, to experience that divinity. Some use it, some lose it. So it is up to you, whether you use it or you lose it. Knowing your divinity is true freedom. That is emancipation. That is liberation. It is not something to be achieved after death. As you live here and now, it has to be experienced and realized here and now. 3. Sometimes, although we love, the love has no effect, or we do not receive love in return. What should we do in this situation? True love is that which does not expect anything in return. If there is anything expected in return, it may appear to be love, but it is not true. True love is so powerful that it cannot fail, for it has all the powers of the universe within. Hence, if there is love, and you think there is no result, it means the love has not been complete. So complete it. How do you complete it? By not expecting anything in return. Being able to love itself is a blessing. Being able to truly love is its own reward. Anything less than that is not true love. 4. In this world, who are our true relations? Just as a guide is needed in a new terrain or a new town, likewise, a guru is needed on this earth to tell you how to proceed in life and reach your destination. The glory of a guru, especially in the Indian culture, is praised as the highest. Mother shows the father, father shows the guru, who in turn shows God. This is the way relationships are designed. Every relationship should help you progress to the next level in your life. As long as each of these relationships fulfills this ultimate goal, which is to reach God, all relationships are fine. They become good relationships and also the reason for your mukti or liberation. But the moment attachments seep in and the relationship does not pass you on to the next level, it becomes bandha, bondage, and does not allow you to move forward. Who is your true relation? the one who helps you go one step closer towards God. They are your true relations, bandhus. They are your true friends. Be always in the company of such people. Wherever you go, try to find good company who will help you become purer, more detached from the worldly things, and more attached towards God. You must go on finding such people and be in that company. Satsangatve nisangatvam, says Sri Adi Shankaracharya. From good company, everything begins. Nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukti. Ultimately, liberation or realization comes to you because of good company. So find good company. That's why I say, run away from bad company. I don't say walk away. Run away from those who make you worldly. Try to be in the association of those who help you with good thoughts, divine thoughts, and allow you to go further in this path of God. 5. What is the path to liberation? Actions bind you to this world. However, only actions have the capability of liberating you from the same world. When a doctor desires to serve the patients with selfless feelings in order to help, in order to remove their sufferings, such kind of actions liberate the doctor. The same doctor, when he thinks that treating patients is a business, it is a money-making process for his own selfish pursuits, the very same skills of the doctor bind him. Anything that you do out of selflessness and as a service to others liberates you. All that is needed is to develop this idea of selfless service in whatever you do, and that itself will become your path to liberation. When actions are performed with the idea of being of use to others, being of service to others, your requirements will be looked after in the process. And when one desires to serve others selflessly, the whole universe conspires to help such a person. If somebody takes to this path of selfless service, whatever you require in the process will be provided by God. Rantideva, a great king of the land of Bharat and a pious devotee of God, said, "I don't want kingdom. I don't want heaven. I don't want liberation or another rebirth as a king. All I want is to remove the suffering of those who are in pain." If this prayer of Rantideva becomes the prayer of every single person, every single devotee, the world will be a heaven. God needs these kinds of people who are filled with selflessness and have tremendous faith in Him. He doesn't want cowards who shiver and fear if they have to sacrifice even a little. Only those who develop this kind of fearlessness, selflessness, faith and conviction will be with God. All others will have to go. Only such people who live with a sense of sacrifice alone will remain immortal. The rest will be forgotten on the face of earth. 6. How do you make your daily chores or work meritorious? If you do any work as worship to God and offer all that you have done to Him at the end of the day, then work becomes worship and also selfless. If you think that your family has been given by God and you're looking after the people of God, the family of God, then that thought becomes selfless. If you think that the body is the temple of God and He's the resident of this temple, then even if you have to feed, dress, or look after yourself, it becomes selfless and does not remain selfish anymore, as you believe that you have to look after the temple. Therefore, what you do depends on your attitude and feeling behind the work. If you think in a godly way, in a divine way, everything that you do becomes selfless. Everything becomes a meritorious deed. You must think, "O Lord, you have blessed me with another day, another year to live for you. Give me the buddhi, the understanding that I must live every day, every moment in service to you." 7. How to overcome depression? How can we maintain steady faith in moments of problems and obstacles that may lead us to depression? In life, one will always face ups and downs, be it a king or a pauper. It is not possible to escape this duality of life. In today's day and age, most youth lack self-confidence. At the slightest sign of failure, they are unable to handle and they get into depression. Some of them even end their lives. Depression is the biggest problem many people of the world are facing, especially the youngsters. The thought that I am useless, I can't face the world, I would rather die, are the negative feelings in them. This is because they have everything but they do not have faith. Anytime you feel low or feel less in life, you must tell yourself, I am 1 in a billion because I am putting efforts to know God, whereas most of them do not. You are special. You must congratulate yourself that you have at least taken to this path. Every journey begins with one step. As long as you keep walking, you will reach. You should know that you are God. There are no two ways about it. That is the magic of faith. If you believe something, you become that. When there is faith, it won't lead you to depression. When something good happens, we don't question by saying, what have I done to receive the grace and blessings of God? Do I deserve all this grace God is showering on me? When you don't ask why me during your good times, why do you ask why me during the moments of trials? The one who has brought good times through His grace will also protect you during the bad times. If a nail is only half driven into the wall, it shakes. As it goes deeper into the wall, it becomes unshakable and steady. You can then hang a beautiful portrait without it falling and breaking. The deeper you go into spirituality, the deeper you will understand the ways of God, that just as He brings the day, He brings the night also. When you're faced with difficult times, it is a reminder that you have not been thinking of God too much. So, God is thinking about you now. He is sending you situations and circumstances which will help you think of Him again, so you can get deeper and closer to Him. Therefore, develop this strong faith that you are verily divine and be reminded of it at all times. Then no negativity can touch you. 8. How can we remove fear and anxiety? Where there is faith, there is no fear. If there is fear, it means there is no faith. Fear is nothing but the absence of faith. If you develop faith, fear will automatically vanish. What will happen to you? What will happen to your future? What will happen to your family? What will happen to your money? What will happen to your possessions? You have these fears because you think all these belong to you. All these belong to God, and it is God who has to look after them, be it your body, your family, your money, your relations, your properties, your business. Everything belongs to God, and it is God's problem to look after them. Take everything as God's gift. Remind yourself all the time that nothing belongs to you. At any moment, God can take it back. The moment you become attached by feeling that this is me or this belongs to me, that is when you suffer fear. Have faith that everything belongs to God and He will look after it. If He chooses not to give you what you want, what can be done about it? Whatever you try, you will not achieve it if He does not want you to. There is no other way of dispelling fear. 9. What is the most dangerous disease affecting the youth of the world? In the phrase, I want peace, there are 3 words and they must be considered carefully. There is this I, and then there is want, and finally there is peace. If you want peace, you have to get rid of both I and the wants, and what remains is peace. How to remove I? When you think more of God, there will be less of I, which means you will think less of yourself. So, it is only love for God that can remove ego from our minds. To live in this world, you need to have some desire. But when you breach all limits of desires, continue accumulating and gathering things much beyond your requirements, and in the process, you taint yourself with various kinds of immoral and sinful actions, then it becomes dangerous. Papa bhiti, the fear of sin, is not known to a person who has limitless desires. The combination of these two, lack of devotion for God and carrying ego and limitless desires, which lead you to immoral and sinful ways, is the cause of lack of peace in your mind and thereby in the world too. Especially when you're young, you may have several dreams, several aspirations, and several desires. There's nothing wrong in having them, as long as you execute them with great devotion for God and you keep a limit and check on what you desire. And then you will be at peace, and all those who are around you will also experience peace because of you. More than cancer, youngsters are suffering from a disease called comparison. They look at this person and that person and continuously develop more and more desire. This is causing chaos and confusion in the world today. 10. What is the significant difference between grace and blessing? Grace is there for all, as the sun shines for all. However, the one who uses it is the one who is blessed. Grace is there for everyone equally. It does not differentiate one from another. It is there for all to use equally. But when you make the effort to utilize grace, then you may consider yourself blessed. For those who sleep when the sun has risen, it is still night, and it is not going to benefit them. Blessed are those who utilize grace to grow, develop their divine nature. Otherwise, it is like rain that has fallen on rock and is wasted. Only when rain falls on fertile soil, which has been tilled, weeded, and sown with seeds, will it bring forth crops. 11. What can be considered as the greatest sevā of present times? The best service you can do to society is to be an example. Humans who are blinded by their own selfishness are unable to see what is right and wrong, and the ability to discriminate between the two is lost in today's times. Somebody who is more powerful becomes your ideal. Somebody who is wealthier than you becomes your example. This way, all wrong ideals and examples are being presented to today's generation for them to follow. And the reason behind this is because we tend to value things which are external. Unfortunately, nobody is making any effort to look inside and find the value of humanness which lies within every one of us. It should be the effort of every person who is on earth, in whatever profession they may be, to be an example and lead their lives by the principle of truth and earn a good name for oneself. There is a great dearth of exemplary individuals in the society. What you say may be forgotten, but what you do will be remembered by everyone. The problems of the world are created by humans, and they can be solved by humans alone. God is only like a teacher who tells us how to solve the problem, but does not solve it for us. Therefore, it is time that we realize the problems of the world, be it hunger, poverty, illiteracy, inequality, injustice, etc., can be solved only if at least a few people in the world take it upon themselves to lead exemplary lives, to lead lives of sacrifice. If you engage in selfless work, God will provide everything that you require. There is no end to what good can be done if we all become pure and selfless. The world's problems can be solved with selflessness in your heart, with courage in your hands, and with conviction in your mind. 12. What is the shortcut to God realization? Just as a tongue that is afflicted with fever cannot taste the sweetness of things, likewise, a man afflicted with worldly attachments and impurity of mind cannot understand divinity. The principle of Atman can be known only when the clouds of ego and attachment disperse and the sun of the Atman shines forth. When you engage in a service activity, you should think that it is God who is enabling the sevā to God in another form. Therefore, do not have any ego. Sevā should help you get rid of your ego and attachments. That is the only way to understand your own divinity. When we engage in sevā with the feeling, yad bhavam tad bhavati, as we think, so we become, we start to realize this truth. There are several paths to God. There are several ways to God. However, the shortcut to God realization is selfless service. We must act in order to purify the mind. Scriptures declare that all actions must be undertaken to purify ourselves. That is the purpose of all actions, all activities. What is this purity of mind? Selfless love itself is purity of mind. If you want to attain selfless love, what is that you have to do? You need to keep away from selfishness and self-interest and withdraw yourself from those actions that bind you to the world and drown you in the delusion of the world. Wherever there is purity, divinity will manifest. 13. As we go about daily life, how to let go and let God. To have two drivers in a car is not possible. If one person drives the car, the other has to be the passenger. If God is the driver, then you become the passenger. If you become the driver, God will become the passenger. You can go where you want, as it is your car. If you keep God as the driver, He will save you from all the potholes, difficulties, and accidents. He would manage it all so that you may remain peaceful. Only those who trust God indefinitely, even with bumps along the journey, will reach their destination. Even if difficulties appear, they will say, God is in charge, as He knows everything. He will drive safely, so I need not worry. All roads are not safe. Some roads are, whilst other roads are not. Some are difficult, some easy. When God drives, He is an expert driver. If you think like this, then your life will be happy. But if you feel, I have to look after myself, I have to do this, I have to do that, then you will worry. Only those who have surrendered everything to God can be peaceful at all times. Others are sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Can anybody say that all roads should be very good and that no road should be bad? It is not possible. Can you say the boat should not rock when in water? That's not possible. If the boat is floating on water, it moves and rocks. The world is like that, unsteady. Many people say, God is not helping me. He is punishing me. He does not love me. It is not true. You are not letting Him do anything. That is why He is not able to help. He can help everyone, but you are not letting Him. Once you surrender, you can let go and let God help. If you do not give, how can I receive? If you want to give something, you have to let go. You have to let go and let God. That is all there is about spirituality. Let God. 14. Why do we see things in the dream that we do not want to see, or do things in the dream that we do not want to do, and suffer the dream like we never want to suffer? There are the outcome of deeply embedded vasanas, tendencies buried in the subconscious. What you cannot do physically, implement or realize in wakeful state unfolds as a dream and plays out as an experience. Whatever may be impossible to carry out gets accomplished by the power of the mind in the dream state. The power of the mind is not limited to what you have already seen, heard, or known. It could play out things that you have never heard, seen, known, or experienced before. How could that be possible? Because the mind has the knowledge of your tendencies and retains those vasanas from all the previous births. Mind clings to the actual you across many cycles of birth and death. You take birth putting on different vestures, but the mind snowfalls into a bigger baggage of unfulfilled desires and wishes with every new birth. Only in the deep sleep state, the mind is completely inactivated and overpowered by the Supreme Brahman. You have to achieve the same level of detachment from the mind in the waking state as well. By sādhanā, you can become desireless, thus achieve purity, and that will lead you to divinity, the Brahman. 15. God is within each one of you is what you say. Then what is the refinement needed within each one of us to realize this? Man is a mixture of three gunas or attributes, tamas, rajas, and sattva, which can also be interpreted as animal, human, and divine. How do you get gold when it does not stay in its native state of free elemental metallic form initially? It is melted at a certain temperature and 90% goes waste, and only 10% of the gold is taken, which is again heated at 700 degrees Celsius. This is again melted and 1/10 of it comes out as pure gold. So, the 1/10 of the 1/10 of that mineral is pure gold, which has value, but not the mineral. This process is nothing but the process of moving from animal to human to divine. The mineral is like the animal nature. Only 10% of it is human nature. And again, 10% of that is divine nature. This process of refinement is spirituality. Bhajan, namasmarana, tapas are all for that process of refinement. What are the animal qualities? Food, sleep, fear, and sensual cravings. These are animal qualities. What are the human qualities? I and mine are human qualities. What are the divine qualities? Pure, sacred, and selfless prema or love is divine quality, from which all other good qualities are born, be it satya, dharma, shanti, and ahimsa. 16. How do I avoid getting affected by internal politics in the corporate world and carry out my dharma in the light of your teaching, bear all, do nothing, hear all, say nothing? One thing you must bear firmly in your mind is that nothing will happen to you if it has not been willed by God. Nobody can do anything to you, be it good or bad, unless it is willed by Him. If you strongly believe in this, then who can harm you? Look at the plight of Draupadi from the epic Mahabharata. She was married to the mightiest of warriors, the Pandavas, who were the greatest heroes of that time. Their wicked cousins Kauravas cheated them in the game of dice and asked for Draupadi's honor in their court as the winning prize. Though Draupadi pleaded with everyone present there to save her honor, none came forward. Even her own husbands, who knew right from wrong, stood aside as helpless losers. In such a situation, what do you think saved her? Only her devotion to Krishna saved her. Similarly, if you are devoted to God, and even if the whole world conspires against you, nobody will be able to harm you. If God has placed a difficulty in your way, and it seems to you as if He is not responding, then you should firmly believe that God knows what is best for me. And so, there must be a reason why He has put me through this. That faith alone will help you tide over your troubles. Despite having gone through the terrible ordeal in the court, Draupadi never asked Krishna, "Why did you allow me to marry these Pandavas in the first place?" She did not question Krishna's decision. She believed in His choice. She trusted His wisdom. She knew that whatever He did was always for her greater good, be it divinely facilitating her marriage to Arjuna or putting her through the ordeal. Everything was His decision. Due to her devotion to Krishna and faith in Him, nobody could harm her. 17. Sometimes it is difficult to work as a team. How are we meant to work ideally as a team? In a team, ego should not be present. If it is present, then you cannot be a team. Get rid of your ego so that everybody can work together. It is only when you think, "I am important," that there cannot be a team. Sometimes people listen, while sometimes they do not listen. Explain with love. Sometimes you scold, but do that also with love, not ego. When ego comes, all unity goes. That is important to realize. Accept others as your own and explain with love. If they do not understand, explain again. If your son does not understand, you're not going to leave him and say, "Go away." You would think, "You are my son, I have to correct you." All are ours. If you correct them with that feeling, things will happen. Think of those who forgave your faults with love, who supported you to overcome your shortcomings so that you could become who you are today. Treat others also with the same attitude of love and concern. 18. We all seek worldly success in our lives, but only some achieve success. Is it planets that play a role, or what is that which determines worldly success? Planets are there, situations are there, opportunities are there. You get what you focus on. For example, you go to a market with $100. There are various things around you, but you can spend your money only on what you want. God has bestowed this life upon you, maybe for 100 years. You can do anything with these 100 years. Focus of a businessman may be on wealth, so he achieves it. Somebody's focus could be on charity, and it is achieved. Another person's focus is possibly balance. This is achieved as well. As is the focus, so is the result. Ravana became very powerful because he focused on that. His entire effort was only to gain power and knowledge, and he gained what he wanted. But he did not acquire character in the process. Hiranyakashipu was also a great and powerful king. He was a great scientist and could even travel across space. So he focused on that. Whereas Prahalada, his son, focused on his devotion to Narayana, and he received that. So the world only gives you what you ask for. Everything is governed by the ultimate purpose that you have found for yourself. If you have prayed to God that I must only be spiritual, I must lead my life in a dharmic, rightful way, I must lead my life in a way that pleases God, God will see to it that everything happens accordingly. So be clear about what you want, as you will get whatever you want. This world is like a kalpavriksha, wish-fulfilling tree. Anything you ask will be given. What is painted as success is not truly success. What is success to one may not be for another. For a little child, success is to be able to walk. Even if you give her $1 billion check, she will possibly tear it into pieces because that is not success for her. For her, success is about being able to walk. To a businessman, success is defined by the wealth he amasses. For a great scholar, more knowledge is success. He may not be interested in money. For somebody else, battles and kingdoms may be success. He may not be interested in scholarship. So this kind of success is very individual and subjective. It is up to you, as you have to define success and what it means to you. Work towards it, and you will get it. There is no doubt about it, as it is an alliance of your effort and God's grace. Krishna and Arjuna combination. What you desire much depends on the company that you keep, as it influences you. That is why I say, keep good company of people who are spiritual in nature. All this success will disappear like a bubble. It will burst any moment. So what is success after that? Self-satisfaction is success to me. If you're satisfied with what you're doing in life, if that gives you inner joy and peace, then that is success. It may come to somebody as spirituality or service or simply wealth. Your evolution defines your idea of life and success. 19. So, what is the best thing to focus on to achieve success? Best is to focus on God. I always say, God is the object, world is the shadow. If you have the Creator, you have the creation too. More than anything else, God knows what is best for you. Sometimes, you may not know what is good for you. You end up asking for things because you think it is good for you, because somebody told it is good. But if you go to a doctor and start advising, give me this medicine, give me that medicine, the doctor will laugh at you. Likewise, if you go to God and say, I want to be happy this way only, don't tell me another way to be happy, He will have a hearty laugh at you. If you go to God with a surrendered mind, offer your life and say, you decide what you want for me, then everything will fall in place. He may make you a Janaka, the great king, at the same time keep you extremely detached and satisfied. In worldly terms, all the other kings will be jealous of you. Oh, Janaka's kingdom is huge. They will define your success in that way. But you would think that you are successful because you're able to lead a peaceful and a very dharmic life. That may be success for you from inside. Both ways you benefit. You can get the coconut on the tree as well as the shadow coconuts. That is the right way to focus. Doesn't mean that you have to leave everything and go to a temple or the forest and sit down there. God is everywhere and in everything. Whatever you do, receive, give, enjoy, whatever you aspire for, let it all be for the sake of the Almighty. But this thought process will not come in one day. It has to be practiced every day consciously, and then someday it will become a part of you. It will become a part of your system when your thinking will be naturally inclined towards divinity, towards God, and it will remain your focus at all time. 20. Since you say that advāita is the only actual path, should we completely stop worshipping the names and forms? Everything is a reflection of Brahman. The nature with all its beings, movable and immovable, is all verily Brahman only. Even your favorite God form is that same Brahman only. As long as mind exists, there will be name and form, nama rupa. The world represents experiences of Dvaita and therefore nama rupa. Name and form are inevitable. Some people are so fixated on their choice of God's form and name that they scamper around pressurizing others to follow only their chosen God's name and form. They say, their Sai Baba is God, their Jesus is God, or their Krishna is God. But the truth is, God is Sai Baba, God is Jesus, God is Krishna. God's forms come and go. Sai Baba, Jesus or Krishna will come and go, but God is, was, and will be. Brahman exists at all times unaffected by the many comings and goings of God's forms. Therefore, attachment to a specific name and form is an illusion. God's forms do help you to get the yearning for God, just like our reflection induces you to crave for the actual. A particular name, form, behavior, and interaction do help you to develop love for divinity. But that name and form is not the destination. It is only the commute to Brahman. The destination is Brahman. That Brahman is all forms and names and beyond, with and without. Therefore, through bhakti, devotion to your chosen name and form, attain jnana, the wisdom of oneness. Know yourself. 21. How to respond to a situation or a challenge correctly, as many a times the chosen response option proves to be less than ideal, especially when the options are multiple and are dictated by external factors. The nature of the world is duality, and thus situations faced in this world are naturally dual, advāita, and instigated by duality, difficult and easy, pleasurable and painful, happiness and sorrow, gains and losses, day and night, etc. It is natural for water to flow down a slope. To pump water upwards against a slope is difficult. Therefore, to experience diversity, duality or differences is very natural for a person with worldly vision and focus. Everyone heads that way, as that is the easiest thing to do, and the easiest way drift apart from the truth. However, one who wants to swim against that tide towards unity must work harder, taking a stand against the general tendencies of worldly desires, selfishness, individualities and ego, which forces one to observe the differences. You should hold on to the principles for which you have stood, not giving in to the lower ideas of division, differences and dualities. It is up to you to understand and experience the value of higher ideals or principles. If you hold on to truth and dharma, knowing for sure that dharma will protect you, it will see to it that the right thing is done, even if it happens gradually or eventually. Holding on to dharma is very important. If you believe in unity, if you believe in togetherness, then hold on to those feelings and do not give in to narrow-minded, selfish differences that others may preach. Truly, if you are strong in your conviction, things will change for you. Do not give in too easily to other people's ways of thinking or pressure. That is why you must stand for your principles and values. Some start with great idealism, but eventually give in because of peer pressure to fit in, resulting in giving up idealism and enthusiasm, which is not correct. You must be willing to even stand alone if you are right. Thus, the best and the easiest way to respond to situations is to establish oneself in a non-dual state of mind, advāita bhava. Attempting to respond to a situation which by nature is dvaita, by being in a dual state of mind, dvaita bhava, will only result in confusion. When you are established in a non-dual state of mind, seeing everyone as your own, not different from you, it will give you the courage to do what needs to be done with devotion. Getting established in this idea of oneness is wisdom. Work, worship, wisdom. Without wisdom, the work will not achieve its purpose. Wisdom without action is useless. Action without wisdom is dangerous. With courage, establish yourself in the idea of oneness to choose the right response and realize the right solution. 22. How does a realized person lead his life and carry out his daily tasks? A realized person will lead an absolutely normal life with a clear understanding of why he is playing the life role, be it a student, teacher, king, or a spouse. He carries on his duties in a state of sahaja samadhi. He understands fully well that he is not the doer, but the actions happen through him as per the divine plan. He eats and rests for the sake of the body. He educates himself for the mind. He is not touched or perturbed by his mind or body. This new ethereal experience would in fact make him carry out his tasks with more competence. 23. What is my life's goal? How am I going to be of service to humanity? Realize the truth of divinity yourself and then help others to realize themselves. That is the only goal and purpose of your life. Everything else will happen on its own. If not for such people who realize and also help others realize, there is no hope for this world. This is the perfect and the only solution. Even the many goals set for sustainable development, which is purely an economic metric, would succeed only if you realize and you help others realize. 24. How can the world's sustainable development goals, which are entirely an economic aspect, be dependent on the spiritual progress of people? Thousands of years ago, when the world was only a fraction of the population of today, there was scarcity of food and other basic amenities, and despite that, people were happy. But now, despite the basic requirements, if more money and comforts are conferred on people in their pursuit of lasting happiness, such efforts would only go in vain. It does not bring them lasting happiness. On the contrary, they compare themselves with others and bring more sorrow upon themselves. Any amount of money, recognition, or property would not bring lasting happiness upon them. Therefore, the sustainable development goal should be all about how to keep everybody happy regardless of whatever and how much ever they have. Happiness is not a derivative of only food, shelter, clothing, education, and comforts. Spirituality is the answer for this problem of eluding happiness. The idea of spirituality is not limited to one's being. It's a vision for the entire universe. The vision put forth by Vedanta is not for any one country or a state or a family or for an individual. It's a universal vision. When the whole world becomes Vedantic, there would be no selflessness. 50% of the world's wealth that is now in the hands of a mere 6% of the world's population would no more want to hoard it for themselves in a greedy fashion. They would share it, distribute it, thus ushering in a beautiful world. Only upon this realization will the world experience true peace and harmony that will lead to a sustainable future. The vision of such a future would show signs of people who are happy within and hence would not look for pleasures outside. Unbridled consumption will find its balance. Resources shall not be plundered, and the earth shall heal itself. 25. How does one bring spirituality into work life and remain spiritual at all times? Everything is spiritual. To differentiate between worldly and spiritual is a lack of understanding. Sarva karma bhagavat prityartham. Offer to God whatever you do. Everyone wants to give only perfect things to God. Whatever you do, do it perfectly and offer it to God. Even your office work can be done as service. So do it well with the feeling that you are doing it for God and consciously offer it to God. Avoid getting into the path of unrighteousness. Stay on the path of dharma, and then everything will become perfect. Be pleased to offer everything to God, and whatever you gain from it, personally, consider it as God's blessed offering for you. Then when something good happens to you, you will not become elated and develop ego, and when you face hardships, you will remember that God is looking after you and not feel depressed. Everything is spirituality. If you do everything for God, it becomes spiritual. With tap water, you can wash your car, clean your pots and pans, and even use it for a sacred ceremony. The sacredness of the activity is not dependent on the water. Rather, it depends on your intention. The water is the same. Spirituality is infused into the activity in accordance with your feeling. Life is the same. Your actions are the same. The materials you use are same. Everything depends on your attitude. When you feel that you are doing everything for God, it becomes spirituality. Do only what God will like and never do what God will not like. That is discrimination and detachment. Discrimination will tell you what is right and what is wrong, what is truth and what is untruth. Smaranityam anityatam. Always distinguish between what is eternal and what is ephemeral. Give up what is not truth. That is detachment. If you practice these two things, discrimination and detachment, and offer to God all that you do, that is spirituality. 26. Post-pandemic, what kind of occupations or professions would be sought after? The knowledge of the secular subjects will not suffice anymore. It will help you make a living, but it cannot take you further. Modern scientists keep changing their stance every few decades. But the truth revealed by our Upanishads have stood the test of time for many millennia. While scientists were thinking the earth was flat up till 400 years ago, our history depicted the earth as a sphere in the boar's snout, the Varaha avatar. The boar rescued planet Earth from drowning by securing it in its snout as per the legend. Students of today should be trained in Paravidya, understanding the Upanishads and practicing Advaita philosophy, which culminates in knowing the Brahman or Self. This training should go in tandem with the knowledge of the Apara, the arithmetic, commerce, economics, sciences, and technology. A student who is adept in Paravidya would be able to grasp the Aparavidya effortlessly. The only difference between ordinary and extraordinary people is their degree of concentration. Paravidya trains students to gain steady and sharp focus. In the years to come, within the next 2 decades, people who understand and practice Vedanta would be the most sought after. The Vedantic ideas, topics and thoughts would become a commonplace. These topics would figure in every discussion, in every household, and that time is coming very soon. People would soon discover that there is peace, joy and happiness only in Vedanta. All the other worldly subject knowledge would take a back seat. 27. To achieve a goal, is working with the mindset, if I really deserve it, God will give it to me, correct? Why do you work with an expectation? This itself is not the right attitude. One should work for the joy of doing. A river flows because its joy is in flowing, not because somebody is praising or ridiculing it, or somebody is drinking from it or spitting on it. A river does not care about all that. It flows because of the joy of flowing that way. Life should be like the river. Flow for the sake of flowing. Do not flow with the expectation that you will gain something. The moment you put your expectation into any activity, it becomes impure, not fit for God. The moment you remove the expectation, it becomes pure and fit for offering to God. Remove the expectations from your work. Do not worry about the deservedness or undeservedness. It is because of God's compassion that He gives Himself away to you despite all your flaws. Do not worry about deservedness. Keep doing for the sake of doing, just to please God. What God wants to do with it is His choice. You should say to God, Lord, you have given me the opportunity to serve. This service is the best thing for me. What more can I ask of you? Hundreds of thousands of people do not realize this. They are wasting all their time. I am not one of them. Thank you for that. That in itself is a blessing. 28. How can we have a really healthy body that can overcome disease or serious terminal illness? Discipline will bestow health. If you are disciplined in your thoughts, words, and actions, you will always be healthy. Health must be viewed from a complete perspective, not just from the point of view of the body, because health is a state of complete well-being. The word health comes from the word heli, which not only means sacred or holy, but also complete. It is not just about physical well-being, but also about your mind and your heart. When you have good thoughts, speak good things, and act accordingly, you will be healthy at all levels. What has to be done for the body in order to help it recover? Follow the discipline, whether medicine, diet, rest, and exercise, and you will be healthy. So firstly, do not allow yourself to be unhealthy, and remember that health begins at the thought level. If you have good, pure thoughts, those thoughts in turn will keep you healthy at all levels. Therefore, keep good company, be disciplined, and you will always be healthy and happy. 29. What is unity, and how to develop the kind of unity which can unite the world? Unity is not external, it is internal. Unity of thought, word, and deed is true unity. Only when you have that kind of unity do you achieve purity. Selfless love is purity, and eventually you will attain divinity. Once you experience divinity within yourself, you will see divinity everywhere. The lack of external unity is because there is no unity within you. When you achieve internal unity, you will also get external unity. The world is full of reflection, reaction, and resound. What you see in the world is the reflection of what you feel and imagine. Therefore, you should say what you think. You should do what you say. You should think deeply before speaking. Conflict happens when you follow the mind. When you follow the heart, unity is very easy to attain. The mind, which is dependent on place, time, and circumstances, keeps on changing. The heart within you always tells you the same thing. The body is like a water bubble. Do not follow the body. The mind is a mad monkey. Do not follow the mind. Follow the heart. As far as you possibly can, follow the heart. Then unity will develop within you. Because of fear, hatred, and jealousy, you are not able to unite thought, word, and deed. Why is someone not able to attain unity in a group, be it family or office or society? There are only two reasons: lack of humility and lack of courage. Only when you have both humility and courage can you attain unity. Thus, when internal unity is attained, external unity is but a natural consequence. When you develop unity within yourself, then you will also unite the world. 30. How can we attain permanent happiness while living in the world? Asthiram jivanam loke, asthiram yovanam dhanam, asthiram dara putradi, satyam kirti dvayam sthiram, dharmam kirti dvayam sthiram. Meaning, in this world, life is transient, youth and wealth are transient, family and children are all transient. The only things that are permanent are truth, righteous conduct, and a good reputation. Everyone wants happiness in this world, from an animal to man. No one wishes to suffer or experience sorrow. The scriptures say that man is ever thirsty for bliss. However, not knowing where to attain it, he keeps looking for it everywhere, like the musk deer that has scent in its own navel but does not know where the fragrance is emanating from, searches all around the forest, gets exhausted as it is unable to find the source. But when it bends its head towards its belly, it discovers the source of the fragrance was right within itself and not outside. Searching for happiness in the outside world leads only to disappointment. With a little wealth, a name, a few friendships, and some comforts and conveniences, one may be able to experience pleasure for some time. But like the passing seasons, this pleasure will pass. 50 years ago, 1 rupee was a good amount of money. You could go to a wayside hotel and buy lunch for 50 paise and still have enough left over for dinner. Today, the same meal will cost you 50 rupees. There is no value in just 1 rupee anymore. Money may have some value today, but tomorrow the value vanishes. So can you put your faith in money? In a movie, many scenes come and go. There may be a war taking place on the screen with a lot of bloodshed, but there is no blood on the screen. It's all just a drama. Maya Nartaka, the dream of divine illusion. Because the screen is permanent and steady, you're able to see the film. If the screen was also in motion, the film would be too confusing to understand. If the road was shaking whilst you were walking, would you be able to walk at all? When you are born, you're called a child. Later, you are referred to as a youth. After some years, people refer to you as a man. Eventually, they say, you are an old man. Changes are constantly taking place in your body. Then what is the truth? Are you a boy, a man, or an old man? All these are temporary states. There is nothing permanent in this transient life. Temporary world can give pleasures that are temporary. So base your life on that which is permanent and steady. Then your life will also become steady. Only then you will be able to find permanent happiness. Realize your divinity. Try for the bliss that is the consequence of knowing the ultimate truth of one's existence as divine. That happiness alone can be permanent. 31. To benefit everyone and everything on planet Earth, which sādhanā, spiritual practice, should be pursued individually or collectively? The only sādhanā that can benefit everyone, including yourself, is you realizing your own divinity. If you become divine, that itself is great sevā for the rest of the world. Every breath is telling you that you are divine. Concentrate on your breath and remember that you are divine. When you continuously think that you are divine, you will definitely be able to change all your thoughts, words and actions into divine thoughts, words and actions. It is the change within you, from human to divine, the greatest help that you can do. If you believe strongly and meditate upon your true nature, very quickly it will energize you to think, speak, and act in the way that is your true nature. You will thus help everyone whom you come across. Your looks will become divine, your smile, your touch, your acts, everything about you will become divine. The one who believes gets everything. The one who does not believe attains nothing. Just believe in the one thought, that you are divine. Practice it throughout the day and night. Whatever change happens in you will immensely benefit the rest of the world. The sun does not have to do anything. It just has to rise in the sky and it sustains the entire world. In the same manner, when your divinity arises within you, it will help the entire universe. Even if one person transforms himself into the divine, it will immensely benefit the entire universe.